Voters in the Netherlands are taking part in a referendum on an EU partnership deal removing trade barriers with Ukraine. The referendum was triggered by an internet petition begun by Eurosceptic activists that attracted some 450,000 signatures. The Dutch parliament has already ratified the EU agreement and the result of the vote is not binding. But the vote is being seen as a test of public opinion towards the EU. Correspondents say many voters are using the referendum as a chance to protest against the EU's expansion and what they consider to be its undemocratic decision-making processes. Under the 2015 Dutch law that created advisory referendums, the result will be considered valid only if turnout is higher than 30%. Voters are asked to either back the deal, reject it or fill in a blank box. Turnout was sluggish during the day, with only 13.7% of voters casting their ballot in the capital, Amsterdam, by 1800 hours, 1600 hours o'clock GMT. In Rotterdam the number was above 17%. Some polling booths have been opened at city railway stations. Voting was set to continue until 2100 hours and first projections of the result were expected shortly afterwards. The vote comes less than 3 months before British citizens decide in their own referendum whether to leave the EU altogether. Nigel Farage, who leads the anti-EU UKIP party, said a no vote would embolden those campaigning in the UK to leave the 28-member bloc. However, he acknowledged that a yes vote would be a blow to the Brexit campaign. One of the Dutch Eurosceptics behind the referendum, Thierry Baudet, has warned the government to heed a no vote on the deal. It is not good for the Netherlands, not good for Europe and not good for Ukraine, he said on TV on the eve of the vote. A no vote would put the Dutch government under pressure to cancel its ratification. EU Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker has described the stakes in the run-up to the vote as being high, warning that a no vote could trigger a wider crisis in the 28-member bloc. The Dutch vote is being covered prominently in Ukraine. How will our politicians react if the outcome is a resounding no? 1+1 TV asked as the polls opened. In the run-up to the vote, Ukraine's media were abuzz with stories about various Ukrainian initiatives to promote the Yes campaign, including what they called an invasion by propaganda troops, local politicians and activists traveling to the Netherlands. Many commentators in Ukraine are now wondering whether Kiev has done enough to counter the No campaign, whose efforts included the distribution of free waffles and wrappers with slogans urging the Dutch to vote against the agreement.